In today's episode, I'll be sharing why focusing on positive thinking could be the worst way to try and manifest your dream life. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Katie, and after many years as a struggling single mum, I transformed into a highly successful manifester with multiple businesses, better relationships, financial abundance, and way more peace, joy, and happiness in my life. Each week, I share the real secrets around how to manifest successfully, as well as the amazing and sometimes crazy lessons I've learned along the way, so that you can apply it all to your own manifesting, transforming your life from the inside out. This is That Manifesting Podcast. Okay, so at the top of this, I said that focusing on positive thinking could be the worst way to manifest your dream life. And this is quite a polarizing view, and I get why. But hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll see that what I'm saying comes from a place of knowing and having experienced what positive thinking can do, and why it's not the be all and end all of manifesting. So I understand why people do think that positive thinking is the way to manifest a dream life. There are so many people out there telling you that positive thinking is the way to manifest what you want. So I do totally understand why that's a prevalent thought with many people. But if positive thinking was the way to successfully manifest, then every single person who thought positively about something that they wanted would always get it 100% of the time, wouldn't they? And that's just not the case. I don't know if you're like me, but I've been for many job interviews and I've come out buzzing, thinking, smash that job is mine. And then I get a rejection. Even though I felt really positive about it on the surface, or maybe I've gone on dates, many dates, but I've sometimes gone on a date and thought, that went really well, we're totally going to get married. And I've never heard from him again. So on the surface, my positive thinking would say, if manifesting were down to that positive thinking, I would have those things, but it just didn't happen. And I'm sure there's situations in your life where maybe you've felt the same. You felt really positive about something, and then it's almost like being gut punched, where you think, oh, that wasn't how I expected that to go. So if positive thinking alone doesn't cause successful manifesting, then what does? Well, the thing is, positive thinking does help manifesting, but only if you've done it from the right place. Now, when most people try to think positively, what they're actually doing is just trying to suppress negative thoughts and mask them with positive ones. And that's where positive thinking is flawed. Because if you imagine having a garden and the flowers that you want to grow, say, are your dreams, your goals, what you actually want to manifest. Now think of all your negative thoughts like weeds in the garden. If you wanted to try and grow your flowers, you could try and suppress the weeds. You might cut them back. You might spray them with a bit of weed killer, which will temporarily solve the problem. But what happens if you don't get rid of them altogether or keep working to get rid of the weeds? Well, they grow back and they start to strangle the flowers. They stop the flowers from reaching their full potential. This is what weeds do. And going back, if you think of the weeds in your garden like the negative thoughts in your manifesting aims and hopes and dreams, then those negative thoughts will always come back. You might be able to hide them for a little bit, but they're still there. So unless you can remove the weeds from the roots, they are always going to prevent your flowers, i.e. your manifesting, from developing further. So what are negative thoughts? Like, where do they actually come from? Well, they're backed up by limiting beliefs mostly, the experiences that you've had in the world, right from being a child in a lot of cases. And these limiting beliefs live in your subconscious mind. And some of them you might not even be aware that you have right now, because many of our negative thoughts have been formed on autopilot without our conscious mind even knowing about it. And our subconscious mind is where we manifest from. So when you can't identify and change the underlying negative thoughts and the limiting beliefs that live there, you can have all the conscious positive thoughts you want, but your manifesting outcomes will always be driven by what your subconscious mind believes. So I have I've lived this in my own life. As a child, I had a very difficult relationship with my dad, and I was always seeking his approval, always seeking his love, and we just never quite got there in terms of a relationship. And as I moved into adulthood, on the surface, I felt like, that's okay. I'd kind of put it to bed, let it rest. I was like, okay, I can live with the fact that I won't have the relationship with my father that I always wanted. But what I didn't realise is it was driving the subconscious feelings, the stories, the beliefs in my dating life. Subconsciously, I was still that little girl looking for approval, looking for love. And so I naturally was drawn to unavailable men. And I didn't know why I did it, because my conscious mind was telling me, yeah, you like him. Go chase after him for a while. But actually, my subconscious mind, after doing all the inner work, I discovered it's because those negative thoughts about my childhood were driving my subconscious to chase these men, to almost prove to that part of myself that I could have that unavailable man, i.e. my dad. So yeah, people will call it daddy issues, but I would never have known that, because in my head, I felt really positive about dating and I was excited to go on dates. I never for once thought, this is going to go horribly wrong because my dad didn't really want to know me as a child. You know, that never came up because it's a subconscious driver. And this is why I say that when you focus on just trying to mask anything negative just with positivity, without understanding the core of yourself, then you're never going to manifest what you want, because it's that subconscious part, that part of you that's been built from years as a child, all the experiences you had in the world, right up to now. You know, your subconscious mind is always being reshaped and formed on what you know about the world and what you believe about the world in the deepest part of yourself. So for positive thinking to actually work, any underlying negative thoughts and beliefs have to be completely removed and replaced in the subconscious mind with positive thoughts and beliefs, because then it becomes those that are driving your manifesting results and not the negative ones. So look, you know, you can keep trying to think positively in the hope that what you want will finally manifest, and without going there and removing negative thoughts and beliefs at the root. But I promise you're just risking more disappointment if you do that. I've done it myself for many years with that situation that I've just spoken about. You know, it took me a long time to discover that was what was driving my manifesting. When you start to feel disappointed that what you want isn't happening despite your positive thoughts, that actually then creates more subconscious negative thoughts and beliefs, feelings of not being worthy of something. And it's almost like a vicious cycle, because you just become destined to keep manifesting more and more of what you don't want. I've lived that life of hope, trying to get something, it not happening, beating myself up, thinking I wasn't worthy, picking myself back up, starting again. And it is a cycle. It is a cycle, and I understand it so well. So please don't be hard on yourself. If anyone tells you that you have to be positive all the time, then they're telling you wrong. There is not one person on this planet who will walk around feeling positive about every single thing every day of the week, 365 days a year. It just doesn't happen. You are allowed to have some negative feelings. The most important thing is that you don't live there. You don't allow them to consume you. You don't allow them to shape your internal subconscious stories. That's the most important thing. So positive thinking can absolutely help you manifest, but only if you've grown it in a garden that's already free of weeds. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like what you've heard, I'd be really grateful if you'd subscribe and leave me a review so that we can reach more people. I've left some links in the show notes so you can connect with me, or you can go and grab one of my manifesting freebies. Until next week, sending you lots of love, light, and manifesting vibes.